welcome to sunny Saturday. It is finals time. Semis first, though. Our coverage of Tom's Tourney 2025, and it's the women's divisions to start us off. Local time, just about 9 a.m. You can hear Wham in the background. Take on me as taking on Grut women are Deep Space and friends. Myself, Hannah Pendlebury, on the call this morning with Stefan Rapat. So what are we expecting out of this matchup?
Well, we're expecting an awesome match here. Grut have been phenomenal without much surprise at all. It's the first time I get to see them live, but I've really been following, keeping up with scores. I think last week the whole European community was pretty surprised by the scoreline of their loss to Shout, but since they've been at Tom's, they have been flexing those Amsterdam muscles. 15-7 dispatching of Italy, 15-5 against Bristol women, 15-0 against Tiki Taka, 15-3, 15-4 against Frisbee and Isut, and then move into the quarterfinals. Or they get the bye, then take it to the semifinals, win 15-4 again. Hannah, they have been powerhousing their way through this tournament. Deep Space have been turning heads just the same, maybe not as dominant score lines. I think the friends they've added were real eye-openers. You check out the runs, you're like, oh, wait a minute. Well, okay, the Deep Space, obviously a strong mixed program that we're used to. Some great names that come from Deep Space. And then you see a couple add-ons, these friends. You're like, well, wait, they did a pretty good job there. The likes of Meisel, the likes of Tifan Laci, Marin Raba. Knudsen was there. She's banged the foot up, so she'll be shelved for the game. Amongst a few others, of course, should be a great match. Advantage Grut, but Deep Space and friends certainly the ability to swing in this one.
Well, Sloan taking that anchor position, of course, which she does so well for GB women. New to the Space roster this season, wearing the Huck shirt. Finds Rabba up line, of course, one of the players from Tartu Turbulence, who we love to see. Had a little look at Meisel, but it's Rosie Bailey. Again, another of the newbies for Space, formerly of Lemmings. A little bit of a changeover in some of these rosters in the UK. Oh, the hammer from Sloan to Georgie Hill, and that will do very nicely. A quick, clean, effective offense for Deep Space and friends, which is what they're going to need because they have a little bit of a petite roster.
Comparatively speaking, you're absolutely right. Another 7 at least, I think, there for the Gruties. Yeah, nice and clean. Finished with a, I'm putting the quotation fingers up, risky throw. It wasn't. It was an open hammer. Use the break side. Use the throws that you have in your pocket as elite ultimate players. Here's another look at it. Way to see that exposed break size. And there's nothing risky about that. Throw the hammer. Throw it well. Expose that break side space.
Well, in terms of the loss that you talked about that Grut suffered at the Spring Tour, the word on the ground is that they pretty much just drilled their zone during that game, so perhaps it might have been a closer affair had they not chosen to do that. But Grut have had a tendency, like last season, had a little bit of a slow, softer start to the season, some experimentation, some new talent to roll into the roster. We'll talk about some of those players, of course, over the course of this match. But some traditional styles. Aurora Leshnik lashing it into the Deep Space. Has Flora Coulartz underneath it. It's a little bit squirrely towards the far sideline. And 2 drag swag. That is a la point for the first one on the board.
Well, that's kind of, I would wonder what the on the line call was that. Hey, let's huck it on the first throw. Just keep it in bounds. And she barely did. She only just did. That sideline was coming up, but Leshnik happy to show the power, happy to huck, and who better to throw to in this division than Flora Coulartz?
I wonder if perhaps a little bit of the indoors that Flora Coulartz used to like to play, of course, a lot of the northern parts of Europe tend to, hide from the outdoors in the winter. Trailed by Nicole Lester, an absolute diamond of an athlete, really no slouch. So it just shows the powerful ways in which Flora set up that cut to just churn the way through. But it's something you see quite often in the indoor format, having to be really mindful of the line, focus on the catch whilst also just dragging one limb behind you to stay in bounds.
Yep. Does it well. Flora Coulartz, an axe of an athlete, trains exceptionally hard. There's another one, Lola Dam. one of the defensive stalwarts for, I would say, just about a decade now in Europe, certainly the last 5 years at the top of the list.
Yeah, when she took that season off, sort of deciding to take real life seriously, as that one flies a little bit too far for Maren Rabbe. I was worried that Dan might not come back, but so glad to see she did. So Anna Minard striding up, going for that sleeveless tan look. A little bit late to the party, but Myrna drives underneath. Top performance coach. Minard being well defended. Then Tenkart through to Dam. There's a lot of traffic in the way on the line, but it's going to be the overhead. Sloan on the attack. I think just about gets enough on it. It did get into Loes de Kroon's hands pretty well, but that little bit of extra momentum from Sloan's fingertips.
There it is again. Great defensive pressure on the reception there.
Thacker. The soft dish. This, of course, redemption for Deep Space. Had the first turnover of the game, but managed to grind it back. Lachi. Through to Sloan. Then Hill, nice slicing edge. Oh, that's a tricky one on the inside, but tracked down very well, and that will be indeed a hold. A little bit dirty on the edges, but it will do.
Yeah, well done to get the disc back for Deep Space and friends. They were in a sticky position, giving it away early. The throw for goal, the break chance for Grut, missed by an inch. I like the defensive pressure on the other end, but the second time around, you get one charging D from Lola Dam, but otherwise, Deep Space looked relatively open throughout the possession, finding their way in for an open goal.
I have to say that throw from Georgie Hill, really interesting in the way kind of it sort of flattened out. I thought that was going to be one of those inside-out badges, but it just sailed really smoothly. Still very difficult to track down over that shoulder, though. So all quiet so far, no breaks yet in the game, but of course we've got so much more to go. About 53 minutes left on this regulation time clock. Of course, Tom's Tourney, that slight change, used to be 50-minute games within our time slot, so it's rush, rush, rush between pitches, but adding the half time and putting it to full 60 minutes just means you get extra ultimate action. Coulart's working alongside Lashnik, and again, that one's a little bit lower. Yorworth has a swipe at it, but it's Luster. Takes it away.
Well, Aurora Leshnik is on the Huck at Will tour right now. She's been doing it all throughout her beach tour she's been on, and she's sticking with it. And that one was fire. Has sent it to the Czech bruiser, the boxer. No, she's not a boxer, but she does have a wicked goose eye on that right eye. Kristina Tlusta took an elbow to the face last night. Early in the party, not drinking. That's just things get rambunctious here at Tom's, and she's living proof. But that has not slowed her down. Look at her rip down the center seam there. The throw low offered a little bit of a chance, but in the end, that throw was near perfect. Yeah,
Lobert had a lot of pace on it. It would have been pretty inhuman, although we have seen that kind of action out of Hannah Yorworth on previous matches, but makes it very difficult to really, because you're having to run it down because it's got so much speed. Very difficult to kind of plant and get in the way. So Georgie Hill finds Thacker. Takes the inside to Rabbe. This is nice flow from Deep Space and friends. Lachi across to Hill. Has Thacker attacking that shoulder. Georgie Hill takes a little bit too much of a controversial option on the edge, and it is picked off.
Yeah, I was about to say I love the way Georgie Hill's throwing. That last one didn't come out perfect, but her mechanics on her big shots have looked really well. Okay, that one didn't come off with quite enough spin on it, but I do really like the way she leans into her forehands.
Well, the surname suggests Of course, she did learn to throw a disc a little bit earlier than many of the athletes that represent the UK. She is related to the Cy Hill of UK Ultimate President fame. That one's got to have a lot of hang time underneath it. Sloane nearly makes the
strip
recovery.
I think I saw a strip. I think I saw that in the hands of, is that Hannah Thompson down there?
Yeah, Thompson, Nay Thompson, now Sloane. So I think she uses both, but you've got Sloane on the back of that Huck's shirt.
Yeah.
I have to say, she is absolutely exceptional in the air. I have had the pleasure / frustrating experience of matching up, especially a lot indoors. Sloane used to play a lot for Horsham Hippos back in the day. Comes out of the Chichester Cobras programme.
Here's another look. I think they've got it resolved on the field already.
I think Tenkate just goes that little bit over the top, a little bit higher, and it is indeed called a turn on the field. So Grut looking to try and make this D-line offense work a little bit better. Some frustration on the far sideline from Myrna. Really like the look of Loes de Kroon, but a bit of a miscommunication. Nice footwork, staying in bounds. Good find for Franca Tenkate, but it's Sloane with the hand in the mixer.
Yeah, good to knock that one away. I was watching Susanna Slub there. The throw before that, the catch and release on the forehand side. Loved the mechanics again in that one.
Nice leading pass through. Oh, that is a very pretty dish indeed, and it will be snaffled up in the end zone by Rosie Bailey.
Deep space. Fighting a little harder to find their way in, that is true. But they are finding their way in. They are 3 for 3 on holds. A couple turns that time before they get their way in, but they do manage. I think I'm just checking the line right now. We may not see Kametsova. We haven't yet, but I think she's out there now. I think she's not in her fighting prime right now, a little under the weather.
Yeah, she said she was flipping a coin this morning to determine whether she was going to play or not. Deep Space and Friends have had a couple of players that have unfortunately fallen foul of injury at this tournament, which hopefully nothing too serious. And they'll be able to recover for obviously later in the season, because it's nice to see this iteration with a couple of extra talent. We'll look at Sarah Yeklund there, of course, second season with Grut.
She'll be on her second season with the Tokai Super Team this year as well.
Meisel readying for the pull, who's relocated back to her home club. She'll be playing with Mosquitoes this year, formerly of Yaka, of course. But yeah, that's where she started her ultimate playing. So feels good to be home. Lashnik chases the around to Goularts. Has Yeklund on the underneath, but quite a narrow angle towards the sideline. Resting underneath, but not taken. Elisa Tizik back from maternity leave. This is nice flow. Leshnik, of course, delivers the layout. Nice to open up that top one all the way to Jette Bardol. Then back to Leshnik. Now Yeklund. Goularts with plenty of space from Yorwith. Going to take something away. That one, a nice high grab for Tizik. Oh, and what a lead pass. Aurora Leshnik with the spike afterwards. And that will be 3 apiece. At the moment, Grut's O-line have not been turned over.
They look dominant. The look in the eyes of Aurora Leshnik, every time she gets it, she wants to strike for something. She still makes good decisions, but you can tell the first look up is like, what is my most lethal option? She wants to take the throws that are going to bust the defense open the most first, and then works her way back in. A very aggressive attacking mindset at Leshnik, and she ends up on the receiving end there to take the point home, and there's a little bit of show of her intensity there.
I have to say, Steph, I'm so excited to see Elisa Tizik back on the pitch. Of course, relocated to Amsterdam a couple of years ago, but has a decorated career with the women's Russian program.
Yeah, as am I. It's been quite some time. I saw her on the roster 2 years ago when Grut were still mixed. I think maybe that's when she did fall pregnant, and then from there season off. But yes, great to see her back. Such a skilled player. Great touch on the throws, as you saw that leading one to Leshnik.
And Lisa Horrab as well. Both mothers with their little ones here at Tom's Tourney, enjoying the general atmosphere. But we love to see it. Women's athletes coming through and able to rejoin the sport. Rabo with a nice low release to Lachi. Good hands from Sloan. Inside through, trying to lead Rabo to the end zone. Oh, and the speed, the dynamism. And a first clean hold in a little while for deep space.
Yeah, great response there. Rabo has impressed me all through last season, and by all accounts, she's only better this season. A nice off season. She will stay in Tartu with the turbulence up there in Estonia, but showing great speed there. The early pass to Lachi, the nice low release backhand bounce. She is, getting better in leaps and bounds, and can't wait to see what's in store for her as she keeps progressing. But for now, she is keeping deep space right in this. In the lead right now, neck and neck, but it is a 1-point lead for deep space. No breaks in the game, and one more clean hold to the tally.
Yeah, I do believe there are some. It's not certain if Tartu Turbulence are going to go for another world cycle, Steph. Certainly, I think they will be attending the ECS series this season. We expect them to fully qualify for ECF with their ranking algorithm efforts, but I'd love to see the Estonians go for another World Clubs.
Yeah, get on out there.
Well,
stay together.
They'll find their way regardless, I think, of whether they play together. It's the beautiful thing about club championships. You can have a little bit more looseness in your roster just depending on your federation's rules. Nice high release to Jansson. Tizik. Loads of space on the underneath. No mark. But that one's just a little bit too quirky. Great effort on both bids from Anna-Marin Bunn, but just the throw left a little bit to be desired.
Is that the first turn for the Grut O-line?
It certainly is.
I was watching Lester on Kullarts there. She was denying deep space very intentionally there. I think they've picked up on that one since the first point.
Palmer going up line, replaced by Yorwith. Oh, good threaten from Snyder. Now Leicester repping the Reading Ultimate shirt. Nice inside, but it is a little bit too short and taken away.
Jana Janssen shutting the door. Nice tight coverage.
And then smooth moves. Nice switch off. Palmer taking Cluster as she goes up line. Tease it with a swim. Bunn. Jansson and Bardul. And Tizik for a nice gainer. At points, this stack looks a little bit disconnected, but it does mean there's plenty of room to move underneath. That one is low, but what an absolutely fantastic catch. Anna-Marin Bunn, after not being able to grab it down high, gets low.
Yeah, incredible catch there. I thought that was not the primary option. Like, went right past a open floor Kullarts to get there for the goal. Obviously the right choice in the end, but it's one of those ones, if that catch isn't made, you're kicking yourself because you did look off a easier available option in the same pathway there. But wow, what a finish, what a layout to turn this into a point. Here's another look. Now, I'm not sure if you see, you see Flora in the picture, but all we really need to do is focus on that catch. There you get a good look at the abundance of options available for Grut going towards that sideline.
Yeah, no words needed, only pictures. So, nice big pull from Anna Minard. Georgie Hill finds the option of Sloan to start us off. Big put. Marin Raba in acreage in the deep space, and that is a very easy one to reel in. Put out so beautifully.
Hey, there she is again. Raba using the wheels primarily. Sloan and Hill on the initiating side, getting things set up and set to boost. Deep space, dictating pace here, and with each new point, looking tidier and tidier. 3 throws for that throw, clean hold. 4 on the goal before on a clean hold. Looking very strong. Still here in the first half, 5-4. You got to give it to them. They are admittedly not expecting that this is going to be a game that they're going to steal, but you know they're going to come into it and fight for everything they're worth.
Well, this is definitely a high-octane game of offense for both teams. We haven't made it past 8 completed passes in a row. And that's not to say that they're stumbling.
Who needs that many throws to score?
Well, it is a very calm and warm day this morning. A little bit cooler than it has been for the first 2 days of play. It was hit 28 degrees on Thursday, which was unpleasant enough to stand in just commentating. So big respect to all the players out there sweating onto the fields here in Bruges. This is good person coverage from Deep Space and Friends. Shout out to Ruth Caudron in our live chat. Fun with friends in all caps. And that is a pretty fun disc. Christina Kluster underneath it, but Alana Archer, of course, a vet of Tom's Tourney, uses the height advantage.
Lonzy getting that big arm up and playing big in the middle of a pack.
Archer looking to initiate Bex Palmer. Smetsova with a little stutter off the back of the stack, but Leshnik now just hanging out in the space, but a hand block, and Leshnik just makes sure.
I loved that.
Yeah, don't hate it. Don't hate it at all. Don't hate that either. A quick fine for Coulards and a kick spike.
Like, it's hilarious. Like, there's a second there where I'm like, geez, if Deep Space get this early break, they started with the disc. This could be trouble. They pick it up and hand block, layer block all in one on that first chance. Grut don't mess around, really. Like, okay, the errors happen. All the bests have their errors, but the manner in which they got that back was so decisive that they were getting that disc back. So awesome. And the finish, the same too. Just say, okay, let's pick up and win the race to the cone there.
It's very impressive for Deep Space and Friends that they are going toe-to-toe with Grut, despite being a smaller roster, despite having some maybe slightly less stuck-in connections due to some of the extra personnel, the Friends on their roster. But I don't think the Deep Space gents will mind me saying this, but there are some sort of whispers around the Ultimate community that maybe the strength is in Space's women. What do you reckon to that, Steph?
Oh, 100%. Max Squires and Tate and those boys are going to have to pull their socks up to keep up with these ladies. In the same sense that the Grut ladies were the strength of that program when they were mixed still.
Well, just previous releases of the big discs have been absolutely phenomenal, but that one just a little bit undercooked and gives an opportunity for Grut. Bos taking time to bring it back in as we get another look at that one. Not really much to be done. Nice early movement. Oh, but that's a great bid. Lachi redeems and gives that very short field opportunity. Sloan to pick up. And that is just too easy. Rabin wins the race to the front cone. And Deep Space chuck another on the board. Well, if there are no breaks in this game, it will go to Deep Space and Friends, and they are cleaning things up.
Marin Rabbit, third goal of the game, showing a little bit of speed, a boost to the corner again. But how about Tifan Lachi? The jump in the lane, take it away, win it back. Another one who is on the long list for French World Games. Is she on the short list? Do people have insider information? I don't know. But it's possible that she could be going to the World Games with France and here chucking her body on the line to get D's and keep deep space in front.
Well, I guess if there are any haters who would have a question mark over Lachi and maybe doubting plays like that, good example of the talent, regardless of whether or not the French Federation are going to make their announcement. But we'll keep our eyes open on social media for that.
I'm going to make it soon.
Either way.
No, I'm not.
Either way, it has to be said, I'm very, very, very excited to see what France can achieve at the World Games in Chengdu later this summer.
It's going to be a strong squad.
Janssen working with Leshnik. Doesn't like the look of Jacqueline until she bounces across. There's so many complete players on this roster. Tluster now, of course, her first season after looking around the women's division. Wanted a little bit of a change after marshalling East Block to many a victory. Leshnik now just playing with freedom at the back with Bardul. They're getting a little bit stuck, needs to go a little bit negative yards. Well, that one looked a little bit of a too casual release. Jekland finds the poach off. Tluster not playing as much small ball as we've seen in previous seasons. That one just a bit more of a trust one to Jekland. Bardul to Tluster. Nice to see the style developing in that young Czech player. And there we go. At long last, they open the gate and into the path of Aurora Leshnik. The disc goes.
I love Tluster not playing small ball just as much as I love Tluster playing small ball. Of course, it's the style that she worked. Her whole team worked around her, East Block. And, hey, keep your eye on Vienna Spring Break right now, too, because there's a big game between East Block and 3SB going on today that will determine who gets the world's bid for the Czech Republic.
Oh.
But Tluster, mixing into a team that does stretch the field more, that does do a bit more isolation, a bit more patient coming from upfield. She's fitting in fine, and I think it's great for her game. And, again, she has said that this choice is a selfish choice. But A, yes, she wants to be on a team that's going to have a good chance of winning. But B, she wants to play with great players and develop herself in other systems instead of being the center of an offense with everything she does. And I think it's a great choice. And let's see if it pays dividends for her. But I can only imagine she will be thanking herself for the choice.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with making decisions that benefit yourself. It's about balance, right?
Yeah.
And actually what you can bring back when you come home. And we literally talked earlier in this game about the fact that Katarina Maisel is now back with Mosquitoes. Yeah. I mean, they've been doing pretty well without her, to be fair, but all of the experience she's now going to be able to bring back to that squad.
Same way Ben Hort goes back to Grut on the open side, winning a championship in the U.S., winning one with Mooncatchers, bringing that back to his home side.
That's a beaut of a disc, but it's got a little bit too much hang time. And, of course, Lola Dam gets in the way and swipes it out.
I guess Lola gets credited for the D because she ripped it hardest in the end.
It's what you got to do, but it's a thacker sandwich with 2 slices of hoop bread, but that's a great pick-off.
That is a travel.
But Lashi backs it up. No travel call on the pitch, Steph, and that will do for Deep Space and friends.
And so Grut get a sniff, they get a chance, but they cannot convert. Deep Space and friends are looking fantastic in this game. They've already scored more than anyone has against Grut. Okay, they've equaled the most that Italian under-24 women. The only difference is Grut had 15 by the time anybody else scored 7, not 6. Grut have been behind all game long.
Well, I know that Grut were just looking forward to actually getting a very competitive, very tight game to get another look at that sizzling D. But in terms of the standards of the O-line, I think Deep Space might start to feel the burn a little bit in the second half just by virtue of they have been challenged more. They've only got a 3 for 7 on perfect conversions, whereas Grut, of course, have only been turned over twice for their O-line, so they're 4 for 6. And that's on perfect conversions because, of course, no breaks so far.
Of course, the extra legs are going to be that difference as well. Grut are definitely a deeper rotation. Of course, a deeper roster. We mentioned that at the top, but they are using more of their roster to get to this stage. The second half should favor them in that end as well. But for now, it is Deep Space maintaining their lead.
Beautiful sailing disc through the air and a Bardurl on the end of it. Well, it's just symptomatic of this game. The deep throws are just so on, Steph.
Floor Coularts gave a awesome fist pump after she released that. Well, after it was caught, but like her eyes were steely onto the receiver. She knew she had just released fire, celebrated it once the fire turned into a goal, and now we've got a couple of mullets on the board there, Hannah. We're at Galaxy Point. Next point takes half. Here's Floor. Look at the power in that throw. I'm just so impressed every time I see Floor Coularts play. Again, she's been at the top for quite some time now, and I still think she is still getting better. She's still a young player, putting in the work more than anything. Obviously, very talented. Obviously started young, but putting in the work, and that is the difference. Wants it, wants to be better, wants to win with crazy will.
Lovely isolation for Thacker. Through to Rabat. This is great defense up the line, causing space to have to take on the mark. Sloan releases to Hill. Nice flash across the front from Lachi. Tempted by the deep shot, but well covered. This is nice, just straight match defense from Grut. Stallgount rising. Lachi coming in to rescue underneath. Nice switch off. Now Thacker has Rabat churning on the underneath, and the mark escapes. Freed Biscuit across. Oh my goodness, what a catch! T going big again for Deep Space.
Wow, the Rabat hammer, I thought that's an error. They finally got one that is not going to come off, and T lays out, gets two hands to it, low hammer layout grab, and Deep Space take half on Grut.
Yeah, not on our roster list. Snuck off. I do believe it's still T. But we'll get our facts checked. And what a way to take half, though. Absolute scenes here. Can Deep Space and friends knock Grut out in the women's semi-finals? Here live at Tom's Tourney. Find out, folks, after the break.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
We live in a world where everything can be referenced online. Imagine if the greatest moments in our sport were never filmed. Eurodisc continues to do what it takes to make free-to-watch live streams a reality. Let's leave nothing to the imagination. We'll consume the action live, and we'll support those that help to make it happen. If it wasn't streamed, it didn't happen. Eurodisc. What a grab! Oh my God! Somehow they do it!
Second half about to get underway at the moment. It is a real tour de force. Deep Space being turned multiple times by Grut, but not conceding any breaks thus far. Get my teeth back in. But both teams looking very strong. Big plays. And Grut starting off the second half on offense to level things up a little bit. Oh, but that's a really lovely inside takeaway from Sasha Haynes, who was doing everything, everywhere, all at once yesterday.
Wow, pressure shifting.
Meisel. Looking for Palmer. Oh, I love that little spin move. And then immediately dishes. A little bit wobble on that, but second effort. Palmer won't be phased and dishes a hammer to fellow Readingite Nicole Lester on the break side, and we get our first break of the game. Wow, Steph.
This is awesome. Lester wide open in space, but the hammer, again using the hammer to expose the break side of Grut. Deep Space have got it all going on right now. Alana Archer going bananas out there, but Deep Space and friends putting on a clinic against the best team in Europe here, and they've got them in a heck of a hole. Down to into the second half of this game, 25 minutes to play. If they want to see themselves into this final, their D-line is going to have to start firing quick. And before that can happen, now they got to figure out how to score and get that D-line on after being broken. I mean, they've been good all game. We expect that shouldn't be the problem. But breaking Deep Space twice now, thrice, in fact, to win this game is something they haven't done. 15 points into the game is 16. They've got their work cut out for them. I did not expect this game to progress like this.
Yeah, when we were talking about who our finalists might be, it felt pretty certain that Grut would be a lock, but the pressure really starting to rise, and they lash it towards that line for Anna Minard. That's more like it from these Grut players, though. Never shed to the aerial space, and you can see the disappointment on Myrna. Horrab coming in a little bit too much. I think Rabba just got enough on it.
I think they deed each other. Rabba just stuck herself in the middle as much as she can, and now look at her jets again.
Well, short field opportunity, and it's going to be T over the top. This time, no layout required, just simple stuff. I tell you what, maybe a high hand on the force. These Deep Space hammers are finding it.
Marin Rabba is playing out of her skin right now. These hammers are coming hot and heavy. That's the third one for a goal. So her 3 assists are something, but 3 assists, like that needs an asterisk next to it that they were all hammer assists. I don't know when I've seen the last game with 3 hammer assists in a semifinal or, big streamed match like this. She's putting on a clinic.
It's one of the things that's actually really shocked me over the course of this weekend. I know we've got some teams who are really focusing on, working through their systems, all that good stuff, Steph. But the lack of overheads on the show pitch has made me feel sad a little bit. So I'm happy Deep Space are finally delivering the goods. But a timeout being taken by Grut, they know they need to focus up and consolidate and find the magic on defense if they're going to have a chance of reaching the final here at Tom's Tourney.
We'll take a break here, come back for more action in the second half.
We are Hive Ultimate, a group of players and coaches from all over the world working together to progress the next generation of Ultimate strategy. We've helped top teams win world championships and new teams introduce the sport in a fun and inclusive way. Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn more about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
Second half has opened up a ripper here in the women's division at Tom's Tourney. Semi-finals in front of us. Grut broken twice to start the second stanza. And it's all about holding nerve now. Lashnik finds Janssen. Bardul back. I love that tracking backwards from Aurora Lashnik, just to make sure that very loose mark of Kmetsova stays out of the lane. Kmetsova now coming back in to apply a little bit of a different pressure. Like that from the mark. Lashnik across to Coularts. Oh, and that's an interesting choice. I wasn't sure it was the right one. There's nearly an option underneath it again, but I think a little bit of demoralization as Bex Palmer prevents the goal for Tlusta.
Grut are gobsmacked right now. They do not know what has hit them. They were not expecting this kind of a fight. They were not expecting to be swinging from behind. That one, Bex Palmer wins the foot race, gets the Mac, and still, as you said, just all out of sorts. Slusta, you know, in our eyes, that looked like a disc that could have been chased onto after the Mac, but I think the disbelief after the first smack away, and heads are dropping over in Grutland right now.
Meisel up line, Palmer running it down. Oh, the speed. Back, of course, from her little world tour over in Australia.
Australia, mate.
Kmetsova now. Has Meisel hanging around for the reset, but just has eyes for the upfield. Leicester can't find continuation on the break side immediately. Palmer just standing still, and it is all coming apart for Grut.
7-11. Slurpees or not, Grut are in disarray right now. The timeout taken. Coach Ino seemingly no tricks up the sleeve that can pull the pin out of this downward spiral. What is it that Grut need to be doing? Should they be shortening lines? The attack, it is the O-line right now that is surely sputtering, not finding their way in, but the O-line D being compromised just the same, losing the foot races more often than not. I cannot believe it. They have switched over their D-line to receive a pull right now coming up, and the O-line is going to get shelved and have a talking to on the sideline. They are running out of time if they're going to figure this one out.
Well, just under 20 minutes remaining if we're going to talk specifically about the time cap in this game. I mean, we've certainly seen other opponents go on 4-point runs to respond to being broken so repeatedly. But let's see what the D-line can come out with. Susanna Slob in plenty of acreage near our camera views, but it's nice work from Marta Kurland to Tenkart. Kurland clears, and Lewis de Kroon is going to have to lay out it. I don't know if there was a hand on it from Georgie Hill, but either way, picks up, shoots. Thompson Sloan underneath it. Great boxing from Lewis de Kroon.
Yeah, I love the box out there. Really just pushed the body in, made sure there was no back step available, no readjusting. And she, a bit of over pursuit on the disc, but played the body for the last 3 steps and offered no chance of going up.
Well, the first time we've seen Deep Space miss an opportunity given in this second half. All the breaks have been one and done. Nice bounce. And a slide underneath. Marta Kurland just making sure that's a high release. Blady flick. Hill underneath it, but it's a better read from Franca Tenkata. A casual lefty grab and then shoots across the bows into the path of Susanna Slob. D-line gets it done.
Hey, O-line, you owe that D-line a round of drinks if you get away with this win. That was a much needed, that's an understatement, a much needed hold for them to get out of trouble. You put your D-line on, some fresh legs. D-line should stay out there, but I get a feeling they're going to start power lining here soon. No way you're keeping Floor Coularts off the field right now, I don't think. Boy, oh boy, Deep Space are making this very difficult. Tenkata, I love the way that Reed, you know, she sucked in the defender this time, waited, and then as the defender went up, she had the presence of mind to take those boost steps towards the disc, haul it in, make it count, throw the assist, and wow, 11-8 This game is so much more exciting because of expectations at the start, and I guess what we know Grut are capable of. Does that give them the realistic potential to come back? I think there's still enough belief that that could happen, but boy, oh boy, are they be impressed.
Well, a rare occurrence in this match, an out-of-bounds pull that will be fielded from over the fence. Many thanks to the Italian player who just hopped over. I think that might be Pingu, actually.
That is definitely Mr. Luca Tognetti, another member of the Tokai Super Team.
He's got to get the branding in there, folks. You're with, to start off this possession, a power D-line. Leicester fires up line to Haynes. Oh, that's a big layout. But nerves of steel for Sasha. Now, space swinging it around. Leicester doesn't like the look of the continuation. And it gets a little bit stuttered. Haynes grinding the underneath. Hannah Yorworth dancing in front. Can't quite make anything of it. A slip and a slide, though. And it's a layout for Sara Liekland, denying Martina Kmetsova.
The best pressure we've seen from Grut, consistent defensive pressure on multiple primary options. You saw the Leshnik layout earlier. Kullarts charged into the corner to take away the immediate option, and then Eklund gets the bid, but that was maybe our first great look of that consistent pressure that we're used to with Grut.
Bardul looking up line, but it's not quite the throw that she needed, and Alana Archer pounces. Of course, Party Archer, the player, I think it has to be said, I have so much respect for the ability of Deep Space in this game. They partied hard last night, sank an entire bottle of rum. But that is a great grab from Aurora Leshnik on a slightly loose disc.
Eklund had gone deep. Lola Dam takes it. This is indeed a power line. And Eklund with a very rare error. That
is just a stone cold drop. Palmer gives the reset. Oh, but it's all coming undone a little bit right now. Errors across. Leshnik just goes for the big to Eklund. Squeezing it in on that far sideline. Bardul completely open. Both sidelines starting to gather fans. Temperature rising literally and metaphorically here this morning. Kullarts. Oh, that is a visionary throw. Well handled by Tlusta. Hasdam. Oh, and again, it's all about these roll curve high release backhands to open things up, and it's the break back first of many needed for Grut.
Grut roll their way downfield in finality there. It was a high turnover point, 5 turnovers in that one. The requirement, that's what it takes for them to get the break. I thought the D on the very first of those possessions was awesome from Grut in the middle of the point. Some unforced errors, very uncharacteristic by both teams, just giving it back and forth. And the finish, the throw, the shape by Tlusta, showing she can fit in here. Can play any system, but a little bit of space, isolates Dam, and a beautiful, shapely backhand OI to find the perfect path for goal.
Layla Denniston with the moon boot, just providing some sage words of wisdom. Deep Space doing it a little bit different this year, trying to find ways to play with and against the elites in mixed ultimate for the European scene. Had a really successful training weekend with TC Taucher, who of course are over in Vienna right now playing the spring break. Bringing you coverage from both Tom's Tourney and Vienna for free live on YouTube. You lucky, lucky folks. Rubber now. Thompson, not the one. Thacker through instead. And Hill, oh, that's a big amount of pressure. T now. Hammer fake up line instead to Thompson. Nice hands. Oh, Thacker is there. Thacker is reading it perfectly, and it's a high grab for the offensive hold.
Great possession by Deep Space. That is how you respond to being broken. Walking one in, that is very much walking it in. It went through almost all the hands there, not quite. 7 passes to get there, and I think there was a double touch or 2 along the way, but no high stall counts. Really looked upfield, found the open receiver, threw without hesitation, and Thacker with the goods to pull ahead by 3. 12-9, Deep Space and Friends over Grut.
And there's not much left on the game clock, just over 10 minutes remaining of regulation time, as you see Deep Space and Friends all smiles, where it's slightly different energy on the other side of the field, to say the least.
Gobsmacked. Grut can't believe where they are. They don't know how it happened. It's one of those things where it happens so fast. You get to points like this in the game, you look at the scoreboard and your clock, you're like, wait, how did we get here?
Well, I mean, I think Space rode some vibes coming out of the second half. Oftentimes you do see matches turn around at that particular moment, that break. Well, whatever the strat has been, it's been effective. A little bit of clustering on the underneath space now from Grut, but this is good flow. Ah, love the knife. Leshnik fakes the hammer. Eklund just trotting underneath. Again, really effective switching from Deep Space. You don't always see that communication when it's a team with pickups. Oh, I love that throw, just so smooth. And that is calm offense from Grut to steady the ship. If they can keep punching those in and give themselves more legs on defense, Steph, I reckon they can maybe turn this game around.
Yeah, I love the way Leshnik and Kullarts took over on that point. The two of them found each other early in sequences and used a lot of creativity. The blade from Kullarts, the finishing throw, the high release flick that we're going to see again here from Leshnik. Just put it out in front. They really did take over. Now I see them crossing over, and this is what they need right now. With less than 15 minutes remaining in this game, they've got great lines. Their lines can get them through most tournaments, as they have up until this point. But when push comes to shove, I think there's got to be a little crossover, and you see Leshnik and Kullarts, the first choices to be pulled over to the D-line, and there they are. Let's see if this makes a difference and they can get one back.
Well, I mean, essentially, that first break came from what was effectively an O-line, D-line combo power anyway. But Sloan, of course, got Mum Jane in the chats, as always. Love to have you alongside us. And if you're enjoying this game, hit that thumbs up button. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Sloan on the up line, power throw to T in the end zone, and oh my goodness, a swing and a miss, the flop to try and redeem, but that is an opportunity squandered.
Yeah, out of sorts there. The foot speed, much more than the defense, but the hand-eye there was not aligned, and now a big chance for Grut. Straight back through the hands of Slob.
Yeah, it went up nice and high for it and aggressively, but just closed the fingers a little touch too early. But Kullarts will be applying the mark on Sloan, who signals for exactly what she wants, which is cuts into the underspace. Rubber has Thacker emerging from the stack. Backhand, so perhaps a forced middle to try and stop these drives up line.
Seems like it.
It's a smart choice, to be honest. Dumb with the layout, absolutely flying through the air.
Now, that is vintage Lola Dam. Big moments, big bids on the defensive side. Wow.
Well, putting the get wrecked back in get wrecked ultimate team. Leshnik setting sights. Kulan taking the easies. No need to rush things, because of course one of the great dynamics of Ultimate is you do have to score that last point in order to take a game. Boss back to Leshnik. Susanna Slob needs to now Make a bit more movement. Oh, that is such a beautiful throw with vision into the space for Minard. Curlin. Back to Minard. Again, still playing the easy ones. Love watching Coularts and Dam connect with each other, and Minard as well.
There's a pick on the field. Latchy get cleaned up there. Didn't actually see who she ran into, but took one, picking herself up off the ground. Minard, Dam, Coularts, Leshnik have been very tidy on this point. You hear the 5-minute jingle coming on right now. M83 Midnight City.
Well, this would be a much needed injection for Grut to snag another break. Oh my goodness, what a throw, and then easy pickings to exploit the break side. Grut have put 2 breaks on the board. They're going to need 2 more to take this game, Steph. And with 5 minutes left to go, what do you reckon?
They're running out of time, but they are planting the seed of doubt into the heads of Deep Space and friends now. And that seed of doubt will grow furiously if allowed. If the Deep Space, this is where it's mental strength on both sides. Your inability to be able to punch in, your inability to close out the game sometimes just turns the tides completely and swings the momentum to the other side. I don't think we're there yet. Oh, we are there all day watching Dam do that. I don't think there's been a full momentum swing yet, but they're grabbing the reins. The potential to pull hard on them and take that momentum certainly exists now. The belief is in the heads of Grut, maybe before the seed of doubt is fully planted into the heads of Deep Space at this stage.
Yeah, the real tear away coming into the second half for Deep Space and friends. So impressive. 3 breaks to open up. But it's been small pecking away for this Grut side. They're trying to pluck the feathers out of the cushion. And Lashnik with the pull.
Bang and pull.
Yeah, really lovely stuff. You can tell the amount of work that the CrossFit coach puts in the gym. Well handled by Deep Space handler set though. Your whip up line. Oh, and on the inside, Flora Coularts. There's going to be a foul call though, and Coularts grabbing the knee after a potentially awkward landing.
That is the bigger issue here. The play was awesome. The foul, we'll have to have another look, but right now, all hope is that Coularts is able to get herself up from this one.
If you're going to have a teammate come on and assist, though, let's get another look at that one. Yeah, that right knee just goes down a little bit awkward. Hopefully just some jarring to the nerves. But Fiona Myrna, of course, a very experienced physiotherapist, is responsible for actually a lot of the SSC programming of a number of different teams, different high-quality athletes. But what a huge bid that is. You can see gets the disc, I think, before Yorworth has a chance to really get control of it.
Yeah, I was having the first time watching, I was trying to watch the landing. It did look like a heavy impact on a bent knee, so I'm hoping that it is bruising and just a hard hit more than anything else. Didn't look like twisting. The second time I did watch, I thought it was close and clean enough. I can understand Yorworth having a little touch of plastic there, but it remains with Deep Space.
Well, it's going to be a contested foul and a replacement of Coularts. This time it's Dam. Oh, but that's a D. That's whistle clean. Yorworth is a very fabulous receiver, but Lola Dam gets there first. Lashnik. Nice swag off in the lane for Leicester. Some of the sagging that Deep Space have been doing when they're playing person defense is so very effective. Yeklin with no mark. Yeklin taking the shot. That is really lovely stuff. Alana Archer, though, again using the frame. And what a layout. Snyder trying to go for the second effort. Archer so difficult to throw over.
Archer really closed down the lane there. I thought that one was good when it went up. I was about to tell that, Eklund maybe not known for her throws all the time, but that one was a beauty. But wow, Archer to shut the door.
That one's just going to sail clean, though, of Nicole Lester. So, Opportunity beckons again. This for 3 on the charge for Grut. Lola Dam. Kluster now taking that matchup with Jorweth due to the switches. Dam looking for the inside. The call from the sideline is to swing, but instead it's just shooting. Oh, that's Jana Janssen underneath it. Well, she's been playing since she was a junior with these overhead styles, but that one on a silver platter, and it's 3 on the bounce. 12s here in the women's semi-final at Tom's Tourney. Wow.
Wow, we're going to get a game to 14. The bell is going to it's coming. Tell me lies. Tell me sweet little lies. Do I hear it? Or am I tricking? Yes, we do. We got the headphones on. The horn has blown. So one of these teams will score a goal, and then after that it'll be a +1, so it'll be a game to 14. Wow, Grut charging hard in the late quarters to try and make one of this.
This is turning into quite the semi-final. It looked so certain like it was going to be Grut women on top. They have fought their way back into the game though, and this is what you come to play early season events for in all reality. Yes, winning Tom's Tourney is awesome. Yes, getting into the final is what you aim for, but actually the reps that you're getting, the connections you're able to develop at these early season events, that is the true value. And an intense game like this after cruising through the pack. Maybe the fans at home disagree, but we love to see it. Rava not able to be connected with. It's a squeeze through to Sloan instead. And it's a big ripper from the GB Star handler. Tifan Lachi underneath it and brings it home, and that will indeed put that one on the board. Silences the run of breaks, and it will be Grut's to try and take away if they can put this next one on the board. Of course, an even set of breaks. Deep Space started the game on offense, so they will ascend if it's all square. We see some medical attention to our right being given to Flora Kulout. I don't think she's going to be taking the field again in this game, but hopefully, as we say, nothing too serious, and we'll see her later on in the season. Big love to Flora.
Indeed. Our wishes for her to be well, of course, at the top of the list. Grut will definitely, it goes without saying, be missing the player of the year, European player of the year in big moments like this, but they are seemingly still rising. It's one of those things you play for a downed player. When you lose somebody in the heat of the battle, it kind of gives even more fuel. Let's see how they respond. Grut need 2 in a row here. They got to score this hold, and then they give us the treat of Universe Point. If they're to win, they're going to have to break. It's quite simple for Deep Space right now. They get 2 game points.
I mean, we just want to see it go to Universe because we want to see more Frisbee. Especially between these two exceptionally talented teams. Myrna with Thacker on the chase, but doesn't quite manage the interruption. Minard opens up a big backhand. Sarah Jeklund against Alana Archer, and it's Jeklund with a second effort at the back of the end zone, and we are going to Universe.
Wow, what a battle. Loved Eklund's celebration there too. She knows she was being pushed to the absolute brink there. Alana Archer got up, got a tip on it. Eklund had to stay focused, stay on it, got the second effort the right before the back line there. Huge play by Eklund, 13 all. We're going to Universe. This is what dreams are made of. These are the big moments. This is when the best ultimate tends to happen.
Well, you saw that previous Steve from Alana Archer that denied Anna Schneider, that there was the ability to go for that second effort. You can see it again here. Oh. Archer's so used to using the height and smacking the disc away, but the thing is, with a player like Sarah Jeklund, who has a little bit more experience in the bag, of course, I mean, she's been playing at the top level for such a long time. You can tip it away, but really, when it's a player like that, catching it is probably the better idea.
Well, you saw Archer right after the play went and smacked the back fence that her momentum ran her into, and she knows she was, another centimeters worth of finger on that disc would have got it done, and that's the difference sometimes in the point, sometimes in the game. 13-13, Hannah. This is not at all what we expected, but boy, oh boy, am I very happy that we have gotten this gift from the gods.
I'm going to be a bit controversial potentially, Steph. I think this might be the game of the tournament so far.
It is an absolute cracker.
Well, all leveled up and power lines from both sides. I'm curious to see who Deep Space choose. I'd be surprised not to see Maren Rabba take the line as they move away from their huddle.
There
Kurt
she is.
already organised though. Lushnik, Tluster, Jekland, Minard, Slob, Dam, and of course Jette Bardul as well. So that's their 7 for this Universe point D line.
Other side, we've got Yorworth, Palmer, Rabba, Sloan, Lachi, Archer, and Thacker. It's we got some nice set of 14 players out here.
All right, are we going to just end up with big shot down the field for Deep Space? It has definitely been a game of throws, or will it be grinding stones against each other? Huge pull from Aurora Leshnik. You literally cannot ask for finer than that.
Wow.
Yorworth. Players flooding deep to isolate Lachi on the underneath. Now it's Rabba's turn. Slob unable to get up in the mixer. Thacker on the line. Squeezing it. That one is going to go all right. Archer on the attack, but it's Lola Dam with the denial. Lashnik to Dam. This for the break and the game. Jekland up line.
So strong to the disc, but goes down awkwardly. I think she's indicating injury as she rolls into that one. It was a very strong catch. I'm not sure what she has disturbed in the manner she went down. Possibly her head. Maybe she was grabbing her head and not calling injury, but that's what I initially had thought.
Well, we already have the medical staff on pitch side, so they will go and attend to Jekland. Of course, you would absolutely hate to see any injury occur on the pitch, and it will certainly be a different final if 2 of the stars of Grut are absent from that one. It does look to see that Jekland is sort of smiling on the far side rather than grimacing, so getting up to her feet. That's what we want to see. I don't think she's going to be staying on the pitch though, Steph, so we'll have to get an alternate in.
She has been replaced. De Grun in for Eklund and with the disc.
Oh, well, that's a power thrower to start from static. Leshnik has Dam. Dam then sort of thinking about the up line, but Leshnik is going to have to throw into that small window and does. Thuster ready and waiting in the backfield. Minard on the underneath. Oh, that's a really great layout. You could see the adjustment at the very last minute. Now on the doorstep. Oh, that's a beautiful play. And of course, it's Lola Dam to bring it down off the hands of Anna Minard. Grut with the comeback, and we'll see them in the final.
Wow, what a game. Grut put themselves into the most unexpected of holes. Couldn't find a swinging punch for so much of that game, and in the dying minutes, Grut show their championship medal, show exactly the pedigree that they are made of, and find ways to break right through to the finish. 3 in the last 4. Floor being celebrated by her teammates. Happy to see she walked back onto the field on her own volition. I don't know if she's well enough to play the final, but well enough to, enjoy this moment with her team, most certainly.
The important thing is we're seing her on her feet, which is always what you want to see in a high-caliber athlete after taking a knock. But oh my goodness, well, even without two of the top of their roster, Grut getting it done. I love that ambition from Anna Minard, of course, has been playing with Lola Dam for such a long time. So many reps together, so just perfect execution on that final. And finally, they managed to throw over Alana R without her doing some interruption. It has to be said, massive effort from Deep Space, a fantastic game. And ahead of this one, Steph, they said it doesn't matter that you don't necessarily have all our numbers on your roster, Hannah, because you're not going to see us on the live stream again. Well, I think they played that game in a very different style to that attitude.
Yeah, they almost proved themselves very wrong. Well, Hannah, look who's next. We got Open semis coming up next. There is Chak. That's got to be an Elliot Bonet all-techno playlist. So excited for that one. Excited for so much more in the day.
And is it Simon Ruel who's joined the fold today? He wasn't there. Well, he wasn't here on the first.
Yesterday. Missed the first day. So they're the rich getting richer, as we've been referencing a bunch at this tournament.
Indeed. Well, you know, so many World Games trialists on that Chak side. So you know they've been putting in the reps. You know they're in fine fettle. And I mean, heck, though, under 24 teams have been causing spills across the tournament, including the Italians, who actually beat Clapham in the pool stages. So don't underestimate that one. It may all look like chucks on paper, but they're going to have to prove it first. But thank you so much, folks, for joining us here on the live stream for Tom's Tourney. It will be Grut ascending into the finals and Deep Space and friends playing for bronze. For myself, Hannah Pendlebury, for Steph Rapazzo, we'll see you for the rest of finals day. Don't miss it.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, Ultimate.
ULTI.TV.